Do and my hair today, as per usual. If you're new here, my name is Gal, and I am a curly hairstylist based out of Ottawa, Canada. I did a tea rinse today on my hair, and I had an allergic reaction to it. So I always have rosacea. My face is often red. I don't think I have a filter on. I didn't mean to turn a filter on, but I think maybe TikTok put a beauty filter on me because I feel like you can't see how splotchy my face is. Anyways, I had like a full-blown allergic reaction to it this morning. So when I got out of the shower, it was like, anyway, I knew it was burning, but there was like ginger root and stuff in it. So I was like, ooh, it burnt so good. And then I got out of the shower and looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I need Benadryl. Anyways, so we're gonna go through my hair routine today. Now, everybody's wavy curly hair is going to have slightly different needs, like how frequently you're going to wash your hair, for example. My clients typically range, I'm going to have some clients who are going to wash their hair once a week and some clients who are going to wash their hair twice a week. I would say those are going to be the most common frequencies that I'm going to see in the salon. Are there going to be exceptions? Of course. But those are going to be like the two frequencies I see most frequently. I wash my hair once a week. Yeah. I wash my hair once a week. Last week I actually only washed my hair after 9 days, which is unusual, but it was kind of nice. And I just refresh in between. Now, refreshing for me typically does not involve wetting my hair, although after 9 days I did wet my hair, I think once, maybe even twice during that period, just because at a certain point your hair starts to need some hydration. It starts getting thirsty at some point. But yeah, so my refresh is in between typically 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, and they're pretty quick. So all that context, the reason I give that context is because the routines that I teach in the salon, they're a little bit longer. I'm not just applying product to your hair. Do I use oil every day? No, actually, I don't even really use oil on my hair. A lot of people think oil is going to moisturize your hair, but I love how Curl Vision puts it. Oil and water actually don't mix. I think that's a great way to put it. Water hydrates your hair. Water moisturizes your hair. Oil, there are some oils that can contribute to moisturizing your hair, but as a rule, oil typically is going to build up on your hair and prevent your hair from being able to take on further moisture. So especially if you're putting oil on your hair and then not properly cleansing your hair, which I see a lot of the time in the salon, you need to be very careful with the use of oils on your hair. I'm not saying you can't use oils on your hair. I'm just saying you need to be cautious with the use of oils, especially nobody needs to be putting oils on their hair every single day. I'm always cautious to use blanket statements like that. Maybe there's someone out there who does, but generally speaking. Okay, so let's get started with this routine today. So the routine that I teach, especially the routine on my hair, the routine that I do takes a little bit longer. I invest, I put curls in the bank on wash day, but remember, I'm gonna do my hair once for the entire week, and then I'm never gonna spend more than maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes on my hair for the rest of the week. So this is the routine that I do on my hair. It works really, really well. If you were to come see me in the salon, we would do a curl consultation and we would customize a routine that makes sense for your hair based on how much you're gonna have to wash your hair, based on how well your hair is going to retain curl, all that fun stuff. Okay, I recommend that you bring your styling products with you into the shower and start applying your styling products on soaking wet hair. Of course, I like to get dressed before I do my lives, so I can't do that with you, but that means I need to resaturate my hair. What do you use to protect your hair when showering between your wash days? I use a silk bonnet or a silk scarf, something like that. Okay, so I'm literally going to, like on my hair pushes out water, so just a spray bottle, not gonna cut it. I literally need to stick my head back under the faucet to get it wet enough. Okay. Now, I got this really fun little gift kit of InnerSense trial size products. So I'm going to use a couple of those on my hair today. Okay, so I'm not rinsing any of that water out of my hair. 1 second, I need to get all my trial sizes. I'm making a mess. So, just as a reminder, I recommend that you do this part actually while you're still in the shower. It's gonna make way less of a mess. Okay, so I recommend you actually, as I was saying, I recommend that you do this part in the shower. It's gonna make this is the easiest way to do this. That's the best way. Cause like, do you see how my hair is dripping wet? You wanna do this in the shower. Do I wear anything on my head in the shower between wash days? Yeah, I wear a shower cap. Or actually, a lot of the time, I leave my silk bonnet on my head, and then when I go, I sleep in a really oversized t-shirt. This is so funny. When I go to take my t-shirt off, this is a weird thing that I do. This is a lazy thing that I do. When I go to take my t-shirt off, before I leave my silk bonnet on my head, and when I go to take my t-shirt off, I like let the neck of the t-shirt catch like a headband, and I wrap the t-shirt around my head, I guess kind of like a turban, to protect my silk bonnet from the water, and I just like clip it like that, and I get in the shower. So then maybe the t-shirt will get a little damp, the silk bonnet definitely won't get damp, and I shower like that. So that way, like, I haven't disturbed my hair at all. Like, it's still in the silk bonnet from overnight when I shower. I do that a lot, actually. Okay, so the first product that I'm gonna put in my hair today, Hair Love Prep Spray. This is a heat protectant by InnerSense. I'm actually gonna spray it right into my hand. No, I think I'm gonna spray it right into my hair. It's pretty watery. It's kind of like a very light leave-in conditioner. And the reason I actually bought this kit of travel size products is just because I wanted a heat protectant, because I could feel that my hair was my hair was starting to dry faster. Every time I would diffuse my hair, I noticed it was drying a little bit faster. And that can be an indicator that you're getting a little bit of heat damage on your hair. So I knew I needed, even though my curl cream has a built-in heat protection, I could tell it probably wasn't enough. I wanted to use something separate. So a Hair Prep Love Spray is a heat protection spray. So it's a very, very lightweight spray. And I'm going in with that all over. Don't forget your bangs. Okay. So the next product I'm going in with, so this was a whole, oh my god, there's a little stink bug. Okay. So I'm going in with, just because this whole this was a gift kit that the salon was selling at Christmas. So it was a whole little InnerSense gift kit. So I'm going to try and use a bunch of the products because they're great products. The next product I'm going to use is, instead of the balayage blowout cream that I usually use, I'm going to use the Serenity Smoothing Cream. It's also a blowout cream. This one's by InnerSense. The only one is, I don't think this one has built-in heat protection. Oh no, it does. Okay. I'm gonna be pretty generous with this, but I would say it's very similar. It's also lightweight. Any product that's gonna be meant for as a blowout cream, in my experience, they're pretty lightweight because they're meant to be light enough that you can use it on straight hair. So if you picture, usually when you wear your hair straight, if the product's too heavy, the hair is gonna look greasy, right? So I find blowout creams are often quite lightweight. So they can be quite really nice as curl creams for very fine hair or hair that's weighed down easily. Okay, might even use a little bit more of that. Again, this is the Serenity Smoothing Cream by InnerSense. And I'm gonna really concentrate it at this coarse section at the back of my head where my hair has a tendency to not want to clump on me. Hello. Okay, so I can already feel my hair is starting to push out the water. So I don't know if you can tell, but it was dripping wet. It's already not dripping wet anymore. And I haven't wrung any water out of my hair. My hair just pushes out the water. Not because it's low porosity, actually because it's high porosity. Okay, so the next product I'm gonna do, this is I Create Lift. So I'm gonna use this product just at my roots where I wanna get lots of lift. So this is like a very soft hold product. It's a foam like this. I'm gonna use lots of products today just because I've got all these little trial sizes. So I'm gonna put this at my roots. And I'm gonna kind of scrunch that in right at the roots. It's not gonna look greasy or anything. It's a very lightweight foam, but it's kind of a volumizing foam with soft hold. And it adds a little bit of grit to your hair too, which can help if you have silky roots. Like I do. I have very silky roots, so they have a tendency to not want to hold any volume. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with I Create Definition, if I can find it. Here it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna re-wet my hair a little bit because it's already drying on me. So I'm just using my hand, I cup it under the faucet. Do I have a list of these products somewhere? I can list them when I repost this live. Also, I'll repost the live, so you can always just fast forward through the live as I go through them. But what I've used so far is InnerSense Hair Love Prep Spray. It's like a heat protection, very light leave-in conditioner kind of, but basically it's like a primer. Then I used the Serenity Smoothing Cream. It's an InnerSense Blowout Cream. I'm using it as a curl cream. It also has thermal protection. Then I used the I Create Lift Volumizing Foam. Some people use this as their only hold product, but it's a very soft hold product. So unless you have a very strong curl pattern, you're gonna have loss of curl. If you have a very strong curl pattern, then this can be great on its own just for like lots of volume and stuff like that. But if you have a weaker curl pattern, you're gonna have loss of curl if you use this as your only hold product. Do you have a lot of stray hair fallout when raking product through? No. If you do, then you're having a lot of breakage probably. Okay, so I'm going to now rake through I Create Definition Styling Foam. Okay, I'm gonna kind of go like this. So this is also a foam, but it is an extra strong hold foam. So this is what I'm using instead of a gel. So I'm going to rake this through in two sections, the top and bottom, which I just find it easier to evenly distribute it then. I really love the InnerSense products because I find them very easy to refresh because they don't really like build up on your hair. They're very, very light. So I'm gonna do a little bit less product than I've been doing. I'm gonna do 3.5 pumps on the bottom. Because I did, the last 4 days, I did like a really quick styling routine and I did way less product than I've been doing. And I actually had decent hold. And I was like, maybe I've been weighing my hair down with too much product and been getting less hold because of it. So I'm gonna experiment. Okay? Okay, so that was like 3.5, 4 pumps. Then I'm gonna clip that away. I mean, I've been happy with my results overall, but it's always fun to try something new. Then I'm going to, again, I can feel my hair being a little dry. I like to have my hair really wet when I add the eye create definition because it does get a little watered down if you add too much water after the fact. So okay, so I'm adding 4 pumps of eye create definition. And I'm making sure I get enough of it along my part line and at my crown. Let's see. Just making sure that's all really raked through. Making sure I didn't miss the front. Okay. And then I can take out the bottom. Okay, 1 second. Somebody has a lot of questions. I love when you guys ask questions. My hair is always flattish, wavy with a little curl on one side no matter what I try. Curly, so I want to try some of these products. Yeah, I find like it's very normal to have like different one side of the hair that's curlier or like flatter or whatever than the other side of the head. I actually see that so often in the salon. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with the mousse and I'm gonna scrunch that all over because this is a very moisturizing mousse and it's gonna help my hair to now retain moisture because it's really pushing that water out. So I'm gonna take about that much mousse and I'm gonna rake this all over. Some mousses are very drying. Okay. Mousse can be very drying, but I do find if you, like this one is meant to be Vital Curl Soft Defining Mousse. So this one is for volume and moisture for curls with bounce. So you want to be very mindful when you're buying a mousse what it's intended to do because some mousses can actually be quite heavy in your hair and some foams can also be quite moisturizing and quite heavy versus some are very, very lightweight in your hair. So you want to be mindful like what you're choosing a foam for. Like if a foam says it's for twist outs, for example, it's going to be a much heavier foam than something that's for volumizing specifically. So you want to be very careful and mindful when you're choosing a product of what it's intended for so that you get the intended result, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go through into the rake and shake now, and we're gonna try and move pretty quickly because of how quickly my hair is drying now. It's driving me nuts. So I'm gonna take my brush. if you're new to the rake and shake method, I've got quite a bit of content around the rake and shake method coming out lately. Now, as you probably know if you've been watching my content, the number one thing is you want the hair to be soaking wet while you're working with it. Now, if you're working with gel, it's a lot easier to make your hair wet enough for it to be easy to work with. I'm a curly hair girly, but my hair is fine. I need a leave-in that doesn't make it greasy. You probably don't need a leave-in conditioner with fine hair. You might not even need a curl cream. A lot of my fine hair girlies, I use a gelée, a very lightweight gelée, if their hair looks greasy very easily. Something like the Plumping Primer by Diva Curl. It's going to deliver moisture, it's going to encourage their curl, but it's not going to leave their hair looking greasy. So like I would always ask yourself the question, why am I using this product? You don't, like, not everybody needs a leave-in conditioner. For sure, not everybody needs a leave-in conditioner. In fact, I would venture to say I don't use a leave-in conditioner on most of my clients. So I was watching a video of myself doing the rake and shake method, and one of the things I noticed is that I was taking two sections that were too big vertically. I'm about to post the video, so I'll probably address it. That's not what the video is about, so I'm not gonna talk about it in the tech voice overlay, but I'll try and do better as I'm doing it right now. But you really want to make sure that the sections you're working with aren't more than maybe like 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch at the back of your head, and that will help prevent it from getting stringy. You also want to make sure that the sections are wet enough, and you want the sections to be roughly the width of your knuckles. Now, I don't obsess about getting perfect results at the back of my head. I just keep moving. I mean, I typically say the back of my head is none of my business. And that's kind of a joke that I make, like, to just keep moving. I think it's very easy to get like bogged down and spend all day on your hair and then get frustrated that it's taking too long. So I think at a certain point we just need to keep moving. There we go. But I definitely think, so yeah, so I made a whole video of how I do the back of my head. And that was like my big takeaway, because I've always really, like, I've been struggling lately with not getting stringiness at the back of my head. And my two big takeaways after recording myself doing the back of my head, the first big takeaway is I didn't realize that my sections were too large vertically. They were too tall vertically. They didn't feel too tall, but they were too tall. So that would be, and then my other big takeaway was that my hair was definitely not wet enough. So I would say if you feel like you're really struggling with the back of your head, honestly, record yourself or get someone to record you on your phone, so that you don't, because if you try to like watch yourself in a mirror, it's honestly, you're not going to get a good idea of what you're doing. Just get someone, grab a phone, get someone to record you, and then flip through it. Watch how it's like, how it's looking. Watch it on 3 times fast forward. And see if you can see any areas where you like can see mistakes. It's hard to know without looking. I think I can make this section a little bit smaller. Yeah. So I usually work through the back of my head with only one clip, but to make it a little bit easier, I'm working through with 2 clips today so that I can break up those vertical sections more easily. So you can see if you ever see me working on somebody in a salon, you'll notice I let down an entire row at a time. Like I let down a whole row of their head at a time. But when I'm working on myself, when I'm doing my own hair, I prefer to just let down the section that I'm working with at a time. And I find that a lot easier to not mix up the sections that I have and haven't already raked. The other thing that you'll notice is I don't use a spray bottle on my own hair. My hair dries very, very quickly, and frankly, a spray bottle is just not going to deliver enough water on my hair to keep it wet enough. So I prefer to, I don't know if you can hear in the background, but there's a faucet running on like a bit of a drizzle. And I just keep it running the whole time that I'm working on my hair. And that is, to me, so much faster than constantly picking up and putting down a faucet. Okay, so once I get kind of halfway up, then I finally take a mirror and I just check to see how it's looking. Yep, everything looks good. It's nice and clumped. And I keep going. Okay, so if you've never done the rake and shake method, you can see you take the Denver brush, you brush through to create, to smooth any wet frizz, and then you rake through with your fingers and you do that skipping rope motion. So I'm actually gonna now, once I get to this section, I like to separate out the front sections so I don't keep pulling them. I'm going to take all of this and put it in its own clip, so we'll work through that after. Yeah, you can also do this in the shower if you buy one of those like anti-fog mirrors. Whatever you find easiest. Okay. So I brush through with the Denver brush, I take my fingers, I brush through. I'm using the other hand to just kind of pinch it right here, and I give it a little skipping rope motion. And you can see how small my movement is. Like I'm really not giving it this like massive shake. It's a very small movement just to reactivate the curl. Now I have a lot of crowns right here in my head, so I'm taking very vertically quite thin sections to account for those crowns. It's easier if I am doing this to someone else, because then I can see where the crowns are and take slightly larger sections, but when you can't see what you're doing, you just gotta keep moving. Okay, so I brush through to smooth the wet frizz. Even from the front, I can kind of see that there's a break right there. There we go. Give it a little shake. You can see how small that shake is. So I just keep working up, and I'm almost done this back section now. Taking another small section. And by clipping away the front section here, I'm making this back section so much easier to work with. I don't even need to clip this section anymore because it's gotten so small. So I'm brushing with the diamond brush. I'm raking my fingers through. I like to pinch it at the top to prevent it from getting stringy as I rake through. And give it a little shake to reactivate the curl. Make sure I wet it all the way to the root if the section is starting to get dry. Brushing through with the diamond brush. This is a good section here. This section, I found that the curl wasn't starting all the way at the root in this curl here. This section was a little too broad. Now you always want to brush it straight out from where it grows. So I'm going to brush it straight out from where it grows, pinch it here. There we go. Oh, my lower back. Sorry, I was standing with an arch in my back that whole time. Oh my God. Ah! So crowns are areas in your head where the direction of growth changes. And sometimes if you try to clump areas where the direction of growth changes all in one curl clump, it's going to keep splitting on you. So, if you're doing the rake and shake method and you find that the hair keeps getting stringy, so stringiness is like what you're seeing right here, like it's not coming together nicely into one clump. So let me show you what I mean by coming together. See if I can get this section to come together. This is like the hardest section on my whole head, so this is a good one to use as an example. There. Okay, so now we've got two clumps that are not stringy, right? Before it was stringy, now it's not. Does that make sense? So if your sections are stringy and they're not coming together, there's a few things that you can do. One second, I need to plug in one of my phones that's dying. I'm live on 3 platforms right now, so there we go. There we go. Number one is always going to be add more water. Now, I think the number one thing, oh, that was the last section there. The number one thing I always hear is between my first and second appointment with clients, I don't always hear, but when I have a client that is struggling with the rake and shake method, okay, sometimes I'll have someone leave. We were able to rake and shake their hair beautifully. They saw me rake and shake their hair beautifully. They loved the results. They go home, they come to their second appointment, and they're like, you know, I went home and just when I rake and shaked, I had my hair soaking wet, but my hair was so stringy, and I saw you able to do it, but I couldn't get it to my hair to do it. My hair was just so stringy. But they know I was able to do it, but so they can't be like, my hair doesn't rake and shake, because they know that their hair will do it, but they can't figure out what's going wrong. And so we're like, okay, well, we'll see where things are going wrong when we get to the styling portion of their appointment, okay? And almost without fail, once we get into the styling portion of their appointment and they see me start doing the rake and shake method, they're like, oh my God, my hair was soaking wet, but it wasn't this wet. And what it often is so after, what you'll notice, I keep adding water to the hair. Different types of hair need to be different amounts of wet for the rake and shake method. What is the tip to know if you need 7 or 9 row with a Denman brush? For this technique, it doesn't matter. So that's the simplest answer. We're just using it to brush through the hair. For some techniques it matters more, but 9 row is going to give you smaller clumps if you're just brushing through the hair. 7 row is going to give you larger clumps. 9 row is going to give you more tension, more friction. 7 row is going to give you less tension, less friction. I would say that the 7 row is probably the one that's more commonly purchased. What do I have here? I'm using a 9 row right now. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but okay. So I'm going to brush through this section. Oh yeah, so if your hair is not coming together, now there are other things that can cause the hair to be stringy, okay? Some people's hair is more challenging with the rake and shake method, but often those are the people that benefit the most from the rake and shake method. So I can see that this section is a little bit broader than the width of my knuckles, so I was just taking out that front piece, and I might also take out this little end piece too, okay? I'm going to start raking through and just a little shake to reactivate that curl. Okay? Now, I think I want this piece to actually go in the other direction just to kind of break up that curl pattern, just because I'm being extra. It's not even going to do that. So sometimes when you go send a curl in one direction, it's just not going to take, and that's fine. It'll tell you. When I let down the side section, it sticks to the side parts I already styled. I don't think I know what you mean. I'd have to see what you're talking about. Just clip them apart. Or just gently separate them? I don't know, I'd have to see what you were talking about. Some stuff is hard to explain or describe over text. Okay, so this section is slightly broader than my knuckle, so I'm just gonna separate it by finger curling. Give it a little shake. Okay, so other stuff. As you get to the front section of your hair, if your hair is starting to get more difficult to work with, you really want to make sure it's wet enough. If it is very, very stringy, the other thing you can do, just make sure your sections are small enough. I cannot emphasize that enough. Make sure your sections are small enough vertically and horizontally. Make sure you added enough curl cream. That can sometimes contribute to it, but typically, like honestly, you can do the rake and shake method with no product in your hair on some hair types. So, not all hair types, but on some hair types. So I would venture to say that it's typically not a product issue. You want to aim for the curl clumps to be roughly the same amount of hair as opposed to the same amount of scalp space, if that makes sense. Okay? You can pinch it at the base of the scalp before you start raking. That will hold everything together. Make sure that you are not raking too aggressively. Shaking too aggressively. That can also cause it to get very, like, a little too stringy. Once I get to the top section of my head, you'll notice that I start rake and shaking, like, kind of upwards. This was just a very narrow section, so I just did that. I always part my hair. I have a crown right there, so I always part my hair there just because I find my hair is easier to refresh then. I'm trying to think what other tips I have for people who are going stringy during the rake and shake method. But honestly, water is the biggest one, hands down. Water, and then pinching it at the base before you start raking through. So put your fingers in first, and then pinch it at the base, like that. The other thing is you don't have to pull your fingers all the way through to the end of the hair right away. If you find that your hair is getting stringy, very, very stringy. You can put your finger, you can rake halfway down the length of the hair, and then shake. But if you do that, then you're gonna have to pinch and then pull the rest of the way through. Here, I can show you what I'm talking about. We'll do it with this section right here, and then we're gonna switch techniques because I prefer to finger curl along my part line. Okay, so I'm gonna show you that technique right here. So I'm going to, oh, so I'm going to rake to right there, give it a little shake, but then if I just pull that, I'm going to pull it straight. So now I'm going to pinch it right here, pull to the end of the hair, and I'm going to give it another little shake. And I can even do that a third time and give it another little shake. And that's really great for long hair. Okay, now I'm just going to re-wet this whole section so that I just can quickly move through it with some Demon brush curls. Now remember, whatever size curl clumps you create when the hair is wet, that is going to be the same size curl clumps that the hair, whatever size curl clumps you make when the hair is wet and that it dries into, those curl clumps are going to always reform in that size. So you can't just like break up the curl clumps once the hair is dry. They will drive you to distraction. They will constantly reform, especially if you only wash your hair once a week. It's perceived time savings. You think it's going to save you time because the rake and shake or the wet styling will take you less time, but then you will lose so much volume and you will constantly have to restyle, break up your curl clumps, and it will drive you absolutely bananas. So I highly recommend taking an extra few minutes and just making them smaller curl clumps right off the bat. not everybody's hair done and brushed. Somebody was saying my hair always falls out. I assume you mean the curl always falls out if you try to do done and brush curls. Not everybody's hair done and brush curls very well. You can finger curl instead if you prefer that. Some people prefer that technique. You also don't have to do this along your part line. It's just a technique. First of all, if you do this, you are going to lose volume. That's something not a lot of people talk about. Done and brush curls absolutely is one of those trade-off techniques. It's going to give you less volume than if you rake and shake or just scrunch your hair. But it's a trade-off that you get for definition. I just love the definition that it gives me. It also gives you very perfect ringlets as a rule, which, I don't know, I really like it. Typically you need a strong enough curl pattern for it to hold, or like a resilient enough curl pattern. And you can benefit if you have a weaker curl pattern, then you would need to diffuse your hair afterwards. So today we are going to dry my hair by diffusing. So a lot of the clients who come to see me in the salon air dry their hair. So I made a post the other day talking about air drying versus diffusing. And there's a few questions that I ask my clients if they come in and they currently air dry their hair. I am not against air drying your hair. However, I do always want to educate my clients about the pros and cons of air drying versus diffusing, because I do find a lot of my clients have certain goals for their hair that air drying is not consistent with. So I want them to understand if air drying is what is holding them back from achieving their hair goals. And sometimes they think that air drying is a time-saving thing for them. And I honestly don't always believe that it is. I think sometimes air drying is like a perceived time saving. And I'll get to more to that in just a second. Okay, so, how did that hair get in my mouth? Okay, so, let's talk about air drying. So here are the questions that I ask my clients if they are currently air drying their hair. My first question that I have is, how long does your hair take to air dry? 2 hours, 8 hours, 5 hours, 30 minutes, how long does it take to air dry? My second question is, is your hair currently frizzier than you would like it to be? My next question is, do you currently want more curl or more volume than what you have right now? And then I always ask them questions about their lifestyle. Like, are you styling your hair in the morning? Are you styling your hair at night? Do you work from home? Are you commuting to work? Like, what does your lifestyle look like? Because I truly believe some lifestyles support air drying more than other lifestyles do. So let's talk a little bit more about the answers to those questions. If your hair takes less than 2 hours to air dry, then right off the bat, you might be a reasonable candidate for air drying. The reason for that is if your hair is taking, let's say, 4 hours or more to air dry, I already am starting to have some red flags about you air drying because your scalp is going to be wet for a really long time. I'm not saying you can't air dry. I'm just going to say maybe we should at least hover diffuse your roots before you go out the door so that your scalp isn't wet for that long. Because your scalp doesn't like to be wet. It's your skin, right? And if your skin is going to be wet for that long, It's just going to promote bacteria growth, and long term, chances are I wouldn't be surprised if you would start getting dry, flaky scalp or dandruff or something like that. So we might at least want to talk about some sort of a hybrid if your hair is taking anywhere from, like, I would say 5 to 24 hours to air dry, which, believe it or not, is more common than you might think. Okay, so then if you tell me your hair is taking like 2 hours or less to air dry, I'm like, okay, check. Let's go to the next question. Is your hair frizzier than you would like? If you tell me yes, and you're currently air drying, I'm gonna say, okay, well, one of the easiest ways that we can solve for that is going to be diffusing. And one of the responses I always get is, oh, but my hair's frizzier when I diffuse. But that is just an education thing. I can teach you how to diffuse your hair in a way that will not create frizz. That is just simply an education thing. I can hands down make your hair less frizzy because your hair is very fragile when it's wet. So the longer that it's wet, the more it's getting disturbed. Every time your hair gets touched while it's wet, it's getting a little bit frizzier, okay? So that means if I can make your hair only wet for 20 minutes instead of 2 hours, I can make your hair less frizzy, hands down. Okay, so the next question is, do you want your hair curlier or more voluminous? And this is the big one. Because of my client base, a lot of my clients want it to look more full, more voluminous, and curlier. This is the big game changer. If that is why you're in my chair, if that is why you're looking for curly education, that is very challenging. It's not impossible, but you're not gonna see as big a difference air drying as you will see diffusing. You just will not. I can show you better products. I can give you better results, hands down. And I can show you how to use texture sprays or sea salt sprays and stuff like that that will give you more volume. But diffusing is what's going to take you to the next level. Hands down, especially if you have very fine hair and you're looking for your hair to be curlier. Volume, okay, I can give you more volume, but I can't make your hair curlier without diffusing, really. So once we have that conversation, I'm like, okay, let me show you what diffusing would look like, and let's talk about how we can fit it into your routine. Okay, so we're gonna start diffusing my hair, speaking of which. So anyways, so that's the conversation that I have with so many of my clients, and then we talk about lifestyle. So for all of those reasons, we can often get more longevity out of a routine with diffusing, because a lot of my clients who air dry are having to basically re-wet their hair every single day, because you typically don't, not always true, I know there are exceptions, but a lot of my air dry clients are basically re-wetting their hair every single day. So then when I teach them a diffusing routine and they can just do quick refreshes in the morning, I'm like, you're actually doing less. So yes, you're now diffusing your hair on your wash day, but overall throughout the week, you're actually doing less. So it seems like you're doing more, but overall you're doing less. So really it's just divide the curls while wet and diffuse it. Yes. If you're asking what my routine is, heck yes. Rake and shake method and diffuse. You broke it down beautifully. Actually, that's not true. I do micro plot too. We're gonna use a cotton t-shirt towel. I like to use my hands first. Okay. My hair probably isn't wet enough. I don't like when I scrunch and no water comes out. I would prefer if I saw water coming out of the hair. But I get busy talking to you guys. Oh my god, it's already 8:15. I get talking and then I take my sweet time. So the rake and shake method smooths wet frizz and creates the curl clumps, okay? And kind of tells everything where to lie. It's this scrunching that encourages the curl. So even if someone's goal is not for their hair to be curlier, I could still do the rake and shake method. It's gonna kind of even out curl pattern, but the goal is not to make the hair curlier with the rake and shake method. That's what scrunching does. Okay, lovely. Now we are going to go in with cover diffusing. There's two main yes. If your hair is taking less time to dry than it used to, chances are either maybe you recently lightened your hair. If you recently went blonde, that might be why. Or could be that you need to start using some heat protection. Okay, so two main diffusing techniques, guys. Let's talk about diffusing technique. Technique number one, hover diffusing. Almost all of you, I would recommend starting with hover diffusing, especially if you're new to diffusing. If you feel like you cannot diffuse your hair, every time you diffuse your hair gets frizzy, maybe the first time you diffuse your hair, you want to do 80% hover diffusing. Just put your toe in the water, okay? Hover diffusing is going to create the least amount of frizz. It's going to leave your curl pattern intact, but it's not going to do anything to encourage your curl. The heat will encourage your curl. I have it on the lowest heat setting that is offered by the Lyfin. This is the blow dryer I use at home. You can see I have basically no wet frizz because we did the rake and shake method. So I like to do this until my cast starts to set. If you don't know what a cast is, it's basically the stiffness that you get from using products that contain holes. Now, you can hover diffuse with your head upside down. You can hover diffuse upright. It's up to you. But basically, you're not touching the hair with the diffuser. Hover diffusing is so boring though, somebody says. Put on earbuds and listen to an audiobook. I find the back of my head lies a lot better if I hover diffuse it lying straight down rather than upside down. So I do like to kind of hover diffuse the back of my head. And then once I have hover diffused for a couple of minutes, I'm going to start pixie diffusing, which I like to do most of the time on my hair. Okay, so what kind of products create a cast? This is a great question. A lot of different products can create a cast. Basically anything that offers hold. The most common product that you're going to see that creates a cast is a gel, okay? But also there are some mousses that create a cast. Some foams will create a cast. Sometimes you'll use a product that creates a cast, but it won't create a cast on your hair. And there can be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe you didn't use enough of the product. Maybe you used a product under that product that was too heavy for your hair, and so it made it like slimy, or like it made it too heavy, so it couldn't cast. Maybe you air dried your hair. A lot of the time when you air dry your hair never casts. It's kind of like a gelatin that was never able to set because there was too much movement. I apply products in order from lightest product to heaviest product, as opposed to hold products last. But typically, yeah, like often the whole product is towards the end. My hair hates gel. It does nothing. It drives me and my hairstylist mental. That's so funny. Okay, so now I'm going to pixie diffuse. So pixie diffusing is going to potentially create frizz if you're not careful. So you want to minimize how much you're moving the diffuser, but it's going to encourage your curl and create volume. So if you don't want to encourage your curl and you don't want more volume because your hair already does that on its own, or maybe because you don't want volume, then you could just cover diffuse the whole time. You don't have to pixie diffuse. Or if you want tons of volume and you're not afraid of a little bit of frizz, you can pixie diffuse the whole time. Up to you. So now I'm going to put my hair upside down. The key here is I'm going to hold position for like 15 seconds. Now, my hair dries pretty quickly for a couple of reasons. One, I don't use gel. That just happens to be the products that I'm using. I used to use gel in my hair. Gel is great. I use it on a lot of my clients. But just the product lineup I happen to be using right now is a very strong hold foam and a mousse. So because of that, those products dry quite quickly. Okay? So because of that, I'm not going to hold positions for quite as long, just because my hair is drying very quickly. Also, my hair is a little bit heat damaged. Okay, but you notice, so this is pixie diffusing, but you notice I'm not moving the diffuser every 5 seconds. Okay, now I like a lot of volume on my hair, so I'm not afraid of creating a little bit of frizz, but I also want to retain some definition. So if I move the diffuser every 3 or 4 seconds, it's going to create more frizz than I'm comfortable with. I got these new sweatpants off Amazon, and they're really good too. For the Aritzia ones, they were $39. I was really impressed. I don't know if you can see them. The Aritzia ones, in Canadian, the Aritzia ones were $89 Canadian, and I was like, ooh, or 85. I was like, I feel like that's a lot for sweatpants. Anyways, I feel like they're the same. I don't know, maybe the Aritzia ones would fit. Like, I think the Aritzia ones are a little bit lower rise, but I actually prefer them, because these ones I can wear with a crop top and they don't show my stomach at all. I feel like maybe the lower rise ones are a little cooler, but I like these. I was very impressed. For $39, I might buy another color. Now I can get 2 for the price I would have gotten one Aritzia pair. I'm not mad. If you just type in like cargo sweatpants on Amazon for $39 Canadian. So I don't know what that is US. Probably like 25. Okay, so I'll probably pixie diffuse like this. We'll see if things start to get frizzy, but you know, because I went like 9 days without washing my hair 2 weeks ago, so I didn't go live last week. My wash day, which is unusual for me. So my wash day last week, so I ended up washing my hair, like doing my real like deep wash. I clarified my hair 4 days ago, and then I just did a mini wash this morning, just so I could do my hair today, and then I'll go like a full week. So I did like a weird, I wanted to do a really low maintenance styling day just 4 days ago with just like a few light products, because I knew I was going to do my real style today. Just to see how it would go. So I used the Serenity Smoothing Cream, and I only used the I Create Lift Foam And I Create Finish. Oh, speaking of which, I wanted to use the I Create Finish in my hair. Where is it? So this is the Inner Sense I Create Finish hairspray. I love this stuff. And you're supposed to use it on wet hair. Okay, this is the I Create Finish hairspray. So you can use it on damp or wet hair. It just adds a little bit of lightweight extra cast. I've been wanting to try it to see if it helps with my halo frizz right here. Oh, and I wanted to use it like on my bangs where I lose curl. It also adds shine. So what do I do to revive the curls tomorrow without wetting your hair? Great question. So with my hair type, I'm not gonna have lots of curl tomorrow. I protect my hair overnight with a silk bonnet, and if I'm using the right products today, and because I invested a little bit in my wash day today, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna shake out my hair, and I'm just gonna go to work. And I work in a salon, so my hair needs to look pretty good. If I feel like I've got a few pieces that are a little wonky or anything like that, I have used Inner Sense products so they don't build up on my hair. They can still absorb moisture without getting frizzy. So I could take a wonky curl, like one wonky curl, add a little moisture to it, and just kind of reshape that specific curl if I needed to. But yeah, like I'm not going to probably need to do anything tomorrow. On Friday, so I guess me putting my hair in a bun before bed doesn't help. Yeah. Probably not. You need to protect your hair at night if you want it to last overnight. But I mean, some people do put their hair up in a silk scrunchie and then in a bonnet or silk scarf or something like that. I've been looking at those diffuser stands. I saw that, what's her name has one? Made by Mel. They're expensive though. Oh yeah, guys. Okay, so I have to say, one of the things I really like about the I Create Finish, it does, when you add it like just towards the end, it does make the hair dry a little bit faster. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I feel like it helps suck out that last little bit of moisture. Did you? Oh, that's awesome. I do need to get one. Yeah, so a silk bonnet or a silk scarf, honestly, you can go to Valley Village and pick up a silk scarf that's just big enough to tie around your head if you don't want to buy a silk bonnet. Like, it makes, or if your hair is very silky and or short, some people, like, for some people it just works to sleep on a silk pillowcase, but you need to do something. You need to protect your hair at night. You'll notice as my hair gets more dry, I do start to move the diffuser a little bit more. The hair is less fragile. So I'm using the Lifen. This is what I use at home. It's linked in my bio. I love it for home use. It's very affordable as far as like good quality. Hi Shelly. As far as like home use hair dryers go, I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of $200. Make sure you buy it with a diffuser. But yeah, I've been using it now for a year, I think. And I love it. It's very lightweight, which really matters to me because I'm a hairstylist and my wrists get sore. It's quiet. It has a heat cycling mode, a medium heat, a high heat, and a cool shot. The cord is short. I've noticed this more and more with residential blow dryers. The cords are only 6 feet long, so you will probably have to put it on. I used to have a discount code. I don't know if I still have a discount code for it. You will need to put it on an extension cord probably, or like in your bathroom, if you're like me and want more than 6 feet. But I have found that to be true of a lot, because I have a lot of blow dryers. I have found that to be true of a lot of blow dryers nowadays, of the residential ones. The Shark was like that too, I think. I have to double check. I have the Shark too. So we're very frizz-free. The eye crate definition, guys. I feel like the eye crate definition is something so many people sleep on because it feels like that, like one extra product that you can get away with not buying, which is true. But it adds so much at the end of your routine. It adds so much shine. It really holds things together when you're diffusing so things don't get frizzy. It adds that extra little bit of heat protection, and it does help your hair dry just a little bit quicker. It's a really nice product. When I'm in the salon, I swear I spray it on almost every client. And if you pixie diffuse, I do find, after you spray it, I do find it makes your hair a little bit curlier. Now, if that's not a goal, you can hover diffuse after you spray it. But do you find that my hair looks a little bit curlier? I've been using eye crate definition, but I've been hearing a lot about eye crate curl memory. Is that more of a cream? Have you used it? No, it's a gel. It's actually a gelée. I really like it. It's such an interesting product, okay? I think it's great for kids. Not only kids, it's great for so many hair types. So let me tell you who it's meant for, and then it can be used for a lot more than this, but it is meant for people who want to elongate their curl, who have very heavy, like coarse hair, very curly, coily, coarse hair, and they want to elongate their curl. That's who it's meant for, okay? Now, it's not quite as strong hold as eye crate definition, but it is stronger hold than their other gel, which is eye crate hold. Now, despite them saying that it's meant to elongate their curl, it's a gel, and it's a very strong hold gel that holds moisture in it, okay? Their other gel is a dehydrating gel, which is nice because it dries quickly. It's not going to leave your hair feeling dry, their other gel, but it dries faster, okay? But because eye crate curl memory holds moisture, I love it for kids because you can use it as a one-and-done product for kids. Oh, I'm a hairstylist. That's how I know what these are for. I work in a curly hair salon. So I work with Intersense products. So eye crate curl memory is a great product. So that's what it's meant for. I use this product. So if you follow Intersense, for example, like they tell you what it's for. If you follow them on Instagram, they literally do advertisements. Like they'll educate you if you want to learn about these products. But yeah, you have to seek out the information for sure. It also generally tells you right on the bottle who it's for. Just read the bottle. So the products will usually tell you, like it says right on the bottle that it's for coarse medium to coarse curly and coily hair. But anyways, because it's such a strong hold product and it's very moisturizing, I have experimented with it on fine hair. And I find you can use it on fine hair, you just use less of it. And I will say, it's not necessarily going to leave your hair the curliest you've ever seen it, but it's a very nice product. It's nice for building volume because I feel like it adds a little bit of texture to the hair. And you can use it as a one and done product, but a lot of people are going to want to layer it with other products. But yeah, like most people are going to use it as a gel, I would say. But yeah, it's very nice. If you want to try it, I would encourage you to try it. Yeah, and a lot of the times these products can be used off-label. Like for example, Curl Memory can be, people are using it for a lot more than just coarse and coily hair. But yeah, it's definitely meant for coily hair that wants to be elongated, but it can be used for a lot more than that. But because it can be used as a one and done product, I love it for kids. I think it's a great, like reasonably priced, I think it's like $36 or $38, which as far as salon quality products for kids with curly hair, I think a one and done product, salon quality product, is that, like if you have a young one, I think that's a good option. Like a 10-year-old or something who's learning to take care of their own very curly hair, I think that could be a great option for them. But it's definitely not only for kids. I just love that it's one and done. You're going to be stealing it from your kid. Okay. So, I never let my hair air dry because I find if I let it air dry the last little bit, my hair gets frizzier. But if you were time limited, my recommendation would be to get like the Diva Curl Diva Fast, which is a spray that makes your hair dry 40 to 60% faster, and to use that before you diffuse your hair. As opposed to letting it air dry the last little bit, you're gonna get better results. However, yes, you could let it air dry the rest of the way. If you're gonna do that, do not touch your hair. Do not touch your hair. Do not break the cast until it is 100% dry. And people, that's what people always want to do. They're like, oh, I'll just break the cast and let it air dry the rest of the way. And then their hair ends up being really frizzy. You need to leave that shell, that crunchiness, intact until your hair is 100% dry. So this is when we talk a little bit about lifestyle. Like if you work from home and you could go like check your email, you where you're just gonna be like sitting down at a computer, not moving, not touching your hair, then yeah, you could totally go just sit down and check your email for 10 minutes. Because at that point, you're probably not gonna create frizz, right? Leave your cast intact, go check your email for 10 minutes, and then come back. And that will save you a lot of time during the drying process. It'll let your hair settle, and then you could come back, and if you need to do a little bit more drying, you can. But that's definitely when lifestyle comes into play. But if you need to interrupt this to go pack your kids' lunches, and you're gonna have a 2-year-old hanging off your hip, and you're gonna be moving around a lot, you're more likely to create frizz. Yeah, so that's when lifestyle definitely comes into play. I'm a hairstylist, so for me, like, I need to finish getting ready. Like, if I wasn't live, then I might diffuse my hair like 50%, then do my makeup, because I'm not going to disturb it too much while I'm doing my makeup, and then finish diffusing it. I might do that. But I wouldn't go make my lunch, let the dogs out, stuff like that. Okay, so we're pretty much done. Now, what I might do today, I'm tempted to leave the cast intact right now and let you guys just post the final results to my Instagram story, which is so rude of me. But I want it to cool down in the cast. Maybe I'll just do my makeup while I have you on live. I want it to cool down in the cast, and I want to make sure that it's 100% dry. How is my face doing? Oh yeah, I took a Benadryl and my face is officially no longer all puffy. I don't even know if you can tell. Yeah, so I can list the products that I used today. Now, I had just bought a little sample kit of products, so I used a lot of products on my hair today. I used Inner Sense Hair Love Prep Spray. This is the heat protectant that I used. It's kind of like a very light leave-in conditioner, very watery. I haven't broken the cast yet on my hair. Then I used the Serenity Smoothing Cream. This is a blowout cream that I used instead of a curl cream. It also has thermal protection in it. We use that for moisture. Then I used a little bit of I Create Lift Volumizing Foam just at my roots for lift at my roots and volume. It's kind of optional, but it adds a little bit of grit to my roots, so it's easier to build volume at my roots once I break the cast. Do you have any videos or tips on how to refresh hair? Yes, totally. Scroll through my TikTok or my Instagram, and anything that says refresh is a refreshing video. Inner Sense, is that how it's spelled? Yes, it is. Then I used, I think, about 8 or 9 pumps of I Create Definition. So, while these are both foams, but this is I Create Lift. It's a soft hold that adds a little bit of grit to the hair, and it's volumizing. I Create Definition is a foam that is extra strong hold, and it adds slip to the hair, and yeah, so it's a very different product. This, I added like 8 pumps just to my roots, so it's very light. You can use lots of it. This, I added 8 pumps to my whole head, and it created this cast. So it's very strong hold. Very, very different products that you use very, very differently, okay? Then I went in with, would you say like a half a tennis ball maybe, of the Vital Curl Weed Add Mousse. Love this product. Love the definition foam. Perfect for us fine-haired people. Yes, I'm so glad you're loving it, Tony. Oops. So the Vital Curl Soft Defining Mousse. Oh my god, I'm running out of this stuff. I love it. Love, love, love. Then I went in, you can see I have all these sample sizes, so I've been using them. So then I did the rake and shake method on my hair, started diffusing, and then I used a little bit of I Create Finish hairspray. I love this stuff. It adds shine to your hair. You can see how nice and shiny my hair is. It also holds everything together. So once you start diffusing your hair, it doesn't start going frizzy or like everything kind of falling apart. And it also does help your hair dry a little bit faster. Not substantially, but a little bit. Yes, I will try and add all these products. There's so many. Oh my god. Well, I just went through them now too. But yeah, I'll try and add them all to the description. If I have time. I might have to go back and add them later today. Because I'm just going to go ahead and post these lives before I go to work. But I might have to come back and add the descriptions after. Like tomorrow morning maybe. Okay. Okay, my hair is dry. I can break the cast. So I typically don't use oil to break my cast. If you've been here for a while, you know that I usually use Smooth Ends, which is a little bit of a cream. Okay, so I'm using, it's actually a split end mender, but it's just like a little bit of a cream that I like to use to break the cast. There's enough oil in this. You can just use your hands to break a cast. If you are using oil, make sure you're using an oil that is the right weight for your hair. A lot of people just use Moroccan oil. That is a very heavy oil. So if you don't have coarse hair, make sure you're not using a heavy oil, okay? Be mindful of how heavy the oil is that you're using. Okay. Oh, I meant to see how the back was looking before I started breaking it. Oh, I love how the back turned out. Okay, just before I finish breaking the cast, I just want to show you how the back of my hair is not looking stringy. So when I was doing the back of my head, I was talking about how I was making some content. I was filming some content about the rake and shake method, which I'm going to be posting over the next little bit. I've started posting it already on my TikTok and Instagram, and YouTube, I think, actually, too, under the shorts. When I was filming this content, I noticed some mistakes that I was making in styling the back of my head. One was it wasn't wet enough, but the other one was that my sections vertically were too big when I was styling the back of my head. So if you struggle with a certain section of your head, honestly, get someone to film you doing it. And then watch it on fast forward or whatever to see if you can identify, because like how long have I been struggling with the back of my head and I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and then I just watched myself doing it and I'm like, gal, I can see exactly what you're doing wrong. And then today it turned out so well because I knew what I had been doing wrong. So, anyways, I'm just gonna make sure that's dry now, that cream. Just dampen it up a little bit. So I like to shake it out at the roots a little bit and really make sure that all that cast is broken to bring all that volume back. Ah! Okay. So what dryer diffuser won't break the bank? It depends what that means to you. So what would your budget be? Because that means something different to everybody. I never want to assume what that means to someone. Okay, so let's see how we're looking. So I've got a couple of clumps right here. 200 or less. So the Lifen is the one that I use. If you're speaking in US currency, you might be able to get it with the diffuser for around that price point. You can double check. That is the one that I use at home. Certainly when it's on sale, I think it's around that price point. Okay, don't be like me. Take your rings off before you scrunch out your hair. We have a lot of definition today. So I always go for, if you're not new here, you know this, I go for a lot of definition on day one because my hair lasts me 7 days usually. So I go for very, very defined hair on day one, and every day I have a Lifen diffuser and I love it, question mark. Canadian, you can see what their prices are. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think Canadian with the even on sale, I think it's going to end up being like $225 or something like that with the diffuser. Is that a professional dryer that's used in your salon? No, but I can tell you my salon owner and I both use it at home. We use Dysons in the salon, but that's going to be a very different price point for you. And neither one of us feel like you need to have a Dyson at home. But Sam Via, I believe, is going to have something around that price point, and I think that is a professional grade blow dryer. SAMVILLA, I believe. But I don't know if you can get that without having access to, like, I don't know if those are commercially available. You can double check. So the cream that I use to break my cast is the Mela and Cara Smooth Ends, and the name of the dryer I used is the Lifen, L-A-I-F-E-N, and it's linked to my bio. Yeah, and you know what? I love the Dyson. If it is in your budget, go for it. I don't think most people need them for residential use. Hot take. Like, I don't have one at home. I would love one. Dyson, sponsor me. But I use one in the salon because they're very reliable. They're phenomenal products, but they're just very expensive for at-home use. Okay, so this is basically what we're working with. Where did you start today for shampoo conditioner? I've been trying out a new shampoo conditioner, so I used Kuhn. I don't really have an opinion on it. Kuhn, it's a salon brand. So pure, it's okay, it's nice. It's a good quality salon brand. And then I used a very nice tea rinse that I was allergic to. And I had to take a Benadryl because I was fully breaking out an allergic reaction before this live and at the beginning of this live. I also did an Evolve repair mask because my hair needed some protein. So I had a busy morning. And then I did the Kuhn conditioner afterwards, just after the tea rinse. I wanted to do a conditioner. So yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff today. And then we got started with the live. So we got we're definitely going for definition over volume on my day one hair today. I actually think it turned out very nice. We used a lot less product than I have been using. I like how it turned out. I think I've been using a little bit too much product, which is interesting for me. So I was like, I think I'm gonna dial it back and see if I get the same results that I've been getting. How do you know when your hair needs protein? I mean, it's a little bit of a complicated issue, but For me, I could tell my hair needed protein because I took a strand and I pulled it and I had no elasticity. It was just breaking with no stretch. But the reason I say it's kind of a complicated issue is because that same symptom could also be a symptom of protein overload. In my hair, I don't have any symptoms of protein overload. I don't have tangles. My hair is not like feeling like brittle or anything like that. Like I know that my hair is just experiencing breakage because it's weak. So my hair is lacking protein. When a hairstylist used too much Curl Smooth gel, my scalp itched. Yeah, so you probably just had an adverse reaction to that gel. My hair was burning when I had the tea rinse in, but I just thought it was because there was ginger in it. And then I got out and I was like, oh, this is a good burn, you know, and then I got out and I looked in the mirror and I had like blotchiness all over my face, like literally all this top half of my face. My rosacea was so bad and it was like coming down my neck. I'm like, oh my God. Okay guys, I have to go. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you found this helpful. I typically go live every Wednesday. It's very rare that I miss a Wednesday, although I did miss last week. My name is Gal. I'm a hairstylist. I work in Ottawa, Canada. I work in a curly hair salon. I'm all about education. I work very hard to provide you guys free content here to kind of democratize or to just make accessible curly hair education so that even if you cannot go see a curly hairstylist, you can still get access to free education because I want you all to be able to learn how to take care of your hair. And I hope to one day see you in the salon if you're ever in Ottawa. How to repair your curly roots. Depends what's going on with them. That's a complicated issue. I'm glad that you find this content helpful. If you do find my content helpful, it's always helpful if you comment, like, share on my videos. And if you're interested in booking an appointment in the salon, you can always send me a DM and I can just give you some general information about appointments. Does your hair go frizzy in the rain? Mine does. How can I stop it? I mean, yeah, most people's hair goes frizzy in the rain. I think that's part of having curly hair. An umbrella. I mean, maybe using certain gels might help with that, but an umbrella. There might be some, like, using silicone products might help with that. I know silicone is demonized a lot of the time, and there is good reason for that. It can build up on your hair, but if you live in Seattle or someplace with a lot of rain, you might be someone who wants to use silicone products to help prevent some of that humidity from constantly causing frizz for you. And you would just need to clarify your hair on a regular basis. So there can be a place for silicone in certain climates, but you just need to use it mindfully and understand what the impact of silicones is. I personally don't use silicones on my hair, but yeah. And I'm not saying that you should use silicones, but rain is going to make most people's hair frizzy. Straight-haired people's hair too, honestly. Okay, y'all. Thanks so much for joining. Love you all. Bye-bye.